Hello everyone. After I finished up the tactics videos, I found that I said quite a few times throughout those videos that you'd be a fool not to bring in one unit or another. Whether they be Tanko Desetniki, Big Light Pioneer, or the M4 Sherman, there are just quite a few units in the game of Steel Division 2 that should be undeniably included in any given deck that has access to them. So with my reasoning out of the way, we are going to look at the 12 no-brainer inclusions to Steel Division 2 decks. We will be doing 12 because there are currently 10 nations in the game. I refuse to count Belgium as they are currently just a footnote in 6th Airborne. And being that the vast majority of them are Russian and German, they will get 2 units instead of just 1. A few quick disclaimers to get out of the way first. Firstly, even though I feel quite strongly about these picks, this video is going to be of a subjective nature, so don't expect these picks to carry over into every single player's deck. Also, while I'm meant to showcase the best units of each nation, I will be looking at the more obscure units and more niche units for any given option, so you're unlikely to see the obvious picks for these as they are self-explanatory. So with that in mind, let's jump in. Leading us off, we have a unit that's usually in the front of every Russian opening I have, and that's the PTRS or PTRD 41 teams. These guys come in the second fastest, second only to the traction currently only found in 17th SS Panzer Grenadier troop transport in the game, tied with the 4 GPA, the WLA motorbike, which runs at a full 100 km per hour on road, and that's 10 km an hour faster than the German variant. This vehicle all but guarantees that the PTRS and PTRD 41 teams will be the first ones to the front unless the roads are unkind. More on unkind roads in a bit. Once they get there, these guys sport the PTRD or PTRS anti-tank rifle with a 500 meter range, and more than enough penetration to handle light vehicles and, more importantly, Opel Blitz troop transports, likely carrying German units to the front. Every game that I run these, I come out with at least 1 or 2 kills on Panzer Grenadier that were never unloaded with these guys. God forbid they find something actually worth money, such as Begleit or Sturm units. These units are incredibly cheap, coming in typically between 5 to 10 points each, and they all carry smoke grenades, a great inclusion to any deck that can get them. On the subject of unkind roads and map balance, I've seen quite a bit of discussion lately as to quite a few maps being unbalanced. While I'm not going to say that all the maps in Steel Division 2 are perfect, a good deal of thought is put into them, and there are just some flags that are meant to flip. I can think of no better example than the 2v2 map Novka, where you have a flag that starts off on the other side of a lake, but you have a straight shot to an enemy flag that's in the same boat for them. The point I'm trying to make is choose your battles based on what you can get. Take the ground you can and give up the ground you can't. No sense in throwing away lives trying to get the aforementioned flag, when you can just as easily grab one on the opposing side and then come for the first flag when you've locked down the middle or the side. After that tangent, our first German unit that I feel is underused is the IG-18 support gun. This guy clocks in at 35 points and brings in 4 heat shells and 46 HE shells. The IG-18 has a 12 round per minute base fire rate, and the heat shells penetrate 75 millimeters of armor. While this isn't a ton in the scheme of tanks, heat doesn't have a damage drop-off over range as normal AP does, so this is devastating to light and some medium tanks. While other infantry guns, even more expensive ones, would struggle to live under the ire of a tank, I've seen the IG-18 take out passing Shermans or T-34-76s with ease. If you have room for these guys in your deck, don't skip on them. Coming back to Russia, we have a sort of niche unit, as it's currently only in 3 decks, and one of those is Polish. It's the Su-57. Bringing in the M1 57mm gun and a recon stat, these guys are the bane of most lightly armored targets. For some reason, even with bad stealth, they tend to remain invisible after the first few shots, and because of their base 55% accuracy, these shots are hardly ever misses. It also sports a 115mm penetration value, and I've seen it kill quite a few tigers and panthers that were unwise enough to show its side to it. As of a few semi-recent patches, its price has been reduced to 45 points, and it's been given HE rounds. This is a fantastic unit to head up your opening or to shore up your foothold. Our last German unit for this video has got to be the Jagdpanzer IV. This monster comes in quite a few AT tabs and boasts a 130mm front armor, a 135mm penetration, and a 95 point price tag. These guys are just awesome to hold down a hill or even support your heavy tanks as they push for something. They have the front armor to bounce shots from any allied vehicle that isn't the IS-2 at 2 kilometers, and it shows by being nearly impervious at that range. Taking our first steps off of the Eastern Front, we have arguably the best unit in the game, the Ranger Marauders. Currently, they're only found in 2nd Indian Head, and they come in at 20 points in the Recon tab. It's a 3-man squad with the functionality for the ages. They pack 3 Thompson M1A1 submachine guns, a bazooka with 8 rounds, a Willie Pete that functions just as a Molotov, and an exceptional rated stealth to boot. What's more, they come in the 4 GPA with 100 km an hour road speed. These guys come with 2 more bazooka rounds than the dedicated bazooka teams and are the same price. What the hell? Get them. Get both cards. At a Force 2-star veterancy, they still come in at 3.6 availability, and the veterancy gives them 112% accuracy with the bazooka that can be fired once every 10 seconds. I'm not kidding when I say I've seen these guys use all 8 bazooka rounds and kill an infantry squad or 2. They don't push front lines, so you can sneak them around behind enemy lines and cause havoc. Moving back to the east and to the Axis, we have Hungary, and what I consider their star unit, the 36/40M Nimrod self-propelled anti-air gun. Firstly, if you were to only use these as AA pieces, they're great at that. It sports 2% more accuracy and 0.17 more damage than the Flak 43, which is a unit I think quite highly of. Add on top of that the fact that it has AP rounds usable below 1500 meters, and sports a 40% accuracy and 75mm of penetration on those rounds while still firing at 82 rounds per minute. If that weren't enough, below 800 meters, it has heat rounds that penetrate 200mm of armor and fire at a base 6 rounds per minute. I've seen these crazy bastards roll up on an IS-2 before and quickly end its life, and I have no doubt that I could see that happen again. For 100 points, it is the same price as the Mobilwagen and has much more usability to show for it. Back across Europe, Britain was well known during the war for the Royal Air Force and the role they played in beating back the Axis. A prime reason for that, if this game is to be believed, was the Tempest Mark V. Currently only found in 6th Airborne Division, this beast of an airplane comes in at 130 points, sports 4 20mm guns, travels at a stunning 680 km an hour, and has medium agility at base. How to put this? When I tell the Tempest to kill a plane, it does so. That's it. That's all there is to it. While other air superiority fighters might struggle to catch opposing planes, the Tempest is faster. While others might be outmaneuvered, the Tempest is more agile. Medium resilience also means that it won't be shot down by a little AA, and it will get the job done before falling back. Honestly, these guys are the only ASF in the game that I currently trust completely. Over in Finland, there were quite a few contenders, but something I honestly never see is the BT-42. This mobile assault gun comes in at 80 points and sports a 114mm gun, great for suppressing infantry from afar. What's more, they come in with 10 flame shells that can be fired at 2 kilometers as well, and can be fire toggled with the HE, giving the BT-42 a base fire rate of 12 rounds per minute. That is insane for what this gun offers, and it really does help you dealing with the floods of infantry that you're liable to see anymore. In France, specifically in 2E Blindé, we have truly a unique unit. The DB-7B bomber comes in at 60 points and travels relatively quickly while still sporting a very good resilience. What sets it apart is the payload of actual smoke bombs. Blindé excels at quick hit and run tactics, rushing the enemy down with fast tanks such as the Sherman and the M8, while utilizing sight lines to keep away from long-ranged engagements with German heavy tanks and anti-tank guns. That's what makes this bomber so essential. The ability to quickly drop a ton of smoke can really help your advance on those heavy tanks or your escape from too many of them. Staying with NATO for a second here, in the Canadian division, there's a little surprise dressed up like a bathtub for Halloween. That's right, it's the Sherman 5 DD. Now the Sherman is already a great tank. I can sing its praises all day. You know what the enemy is likely not expecting though? A Sherman to come swimming across the lake at them, or accompanying infantry that are fjording a river. You don't see this often, and the circumstances where it's possible are admittedly rare, but when it works out, it's genuinely surprising. Worst case, you just have a Sherman 5, and that's hardly a bad thing. For our last unit, it was really hard to pick a Romanian unit as there's so many interesting choices, but with much contention, I've settled on the Vanatori de Care. Found in the anti-tank tab, these guys are 30 points well spent. They come with 5 Arita submachine guns, sporting a hellish accuracy of 60% and a 588 base fire rate. They also come with 2 rifles, an HE grenade, and a Panzerschreck. They can quite easily traverse a forest by themselves, killing tanks and infantry that they come across alike. Because of this versatility, they tend to make regular Pioneer squads and Panzerschreck squads look bad by comparison. Well, that's going to do it for my 12 no-brainer inclusions into Steel Division 2 decks. I just figured I'd hit you guys with another video to tide you over until I come up with the next concept for a new tactics video. All that being said, I hope you guys have learned something and have an excellent day.